Hello YouTubers, this is the audiobook of The Serpent's Shadow, Chapter 1. We crash and burn a party. Sadie Kane here. If you're listening to this, congratulations, you survived Doomsday. I'd like to apologize straight away for any inconvenience the end of the world may have caused you. The earthquakes, rebellions, riots, tornadoes, floods, tsunamis, and of course that giant snake who swallowed the sun. And I'm afraid most of that was our fault. Carter and I decided we should at least explain how it happened. This will be our last recording. By the time you've heard our story, the reason for that will be obvious. Our problem started in Dallas when the fire-breathing sheep destroyed the King Tut exhibit. That night, the Texas magicians were hosting a party in the sculpture garden across the street from a Dallas Museum of Art. The men wore tuxedo and cowboys boots, and the women wore evening dresses and hairdos like explosions of candy floss. Carter says it's called cotton candy in America. I don't care. I was raised in London, so you'll just have to keep up and learn the proper way of saying things. A band played old-timey country music on the pavilion. Strings of fairy lights glimmered in the trees. Magicians did occasionally pop out of secret doors in the sculptures, or summon sparks of fire to burn away pesky mosquitoes. But otherwise, it seemed like quite a normal party. The leader of the 51st Gnome, J.D. Grissom, was chatting with his guests and enjoying a plate of beef tacos when we pulled him away for an emergency meeting. I felt bad about that, but there wasn't much choice considering the danger he was in. An attack, you frown? The Tut exhibit has been open for a month now. If Alphaphus was going to strike, wouldn't he have done it already? J.D. was tall and stout with a rugged, withered face, feathery red hair, and hands as rough as bark. He might have been 440, but it's hard to tell with the magicians. He might have been 400. He wore a black suit with bolo tie and a large silver Lone Star belt buckle with like a Wild West Marshal. Let's talk on the way, Carter said. He started leading us toward the opposite side of the garden. I must admit, my brother acted remarkably confident. He was still a Montemely dork, of course. His nappy brown hair had a chunk missing on the left side where his pet griffin had given him a love bite, and you can tell from the nicks on his face that he hadn't quite mastered the art of shaving. But since his 15th birthday, he shot up in height and put on muscle for hours of combat training. He looked poised and mature in his black linen clothes, especially with the copper sword at his side. I could almost imagine him as a leader of men without laughing hysterically. Why are you glaring at me, Carter? That was quite a generous description. Carter maneuvered around the buffet table, grabbing a handful of tortilla chips. Office has a pattern, he told J.D. The other attacks all happen on the night of the new moon when the darkness is greatest. Believe me, he'll hit your museum tonight, and he'll hit it hard. J.D. Grissom squeezed around a cluster of magicians drinking champagne. These other attacks, he said? You mean Chicago and Mexico City? And Toronto, Carter said, and a few others. I knew you didn't want to say more. The attacks we'd witnessed over the summer had left us both with nightmares. True, full-out Armageddon hadn't come yet. It hadn't been 6 months since Chow Snake Alphaphus had escaped from his underworld prison. But he still hadn't launched a large-scale invasion of the mortal world, as we expected. For some reason, the serpent was biding his time, settling for smaller attacks on gnomes that seemed secure and happy. Like this one, I thought. As we passed the pavilion, the band finished their song. A pretty blonde woman with a fiddle waved on her bow at J.D. Come on, sweetie, she said. We need you on steel guitar. He forced a smile. Soon, hon, I'll be back. We walked on. J.D. turned to us. My wife, Anne. Is she also a magician? I asked. He nodded, his expression turning dark. These attacks? Why are you sure Alphaphus would strike here? Carter's mouth was full of tortilla chips, so his response was, He's after a certain artifact, translated. He's already destroyed 5 copies of it. The last one in existence happens to be in your King Tut's exhibit. What artifact? JD asked. I hesitated. Before coming to Dallas, we cast all sorts of shield dispels and load up protective amulets to prevent magical eavesdropping, but I was still nervous about speaking our plans aloud. Better we show you. I stepped around a fountain where two young magicians were tracing glowing "I love you" messages on the paving stones with their wands. We brought our own crack team out. They're waiting at the museum. If you let us examine the artifact, possibly take it with us for safekeeping. Take it with you, JD scowled. The exhibit is heavily guarded. I think I have my best magicians surrounding it tonight, and you think you can do better at Brooklyn House. We stopped at the edge of the garden, across the street. A two-story tall King Tut banner hung from the side of the museum. Carter took out his mobile phone. He showed J.D. Grissom an image on the screen, a burned-out mansion that had once been the quarters for the 100th gnome in Toronto. I'm sure your guards are good, but we'd rather not make your gnome a target for officers. In other attacks like this one, the serpents' minions don't leave any survivors. JD stared at the phone screen, then glanced back at his wife Anne, who was fiddling her way through a two-step. Fine, JD said. I hope your team is top-notch. They're amazing, I promise. Come on, we'll introduce you. Our crack squad of magicians was busy raiding the gift shop. Felix had summoned 3 penguins, which were waddling around, wearing paper cup King Tut masks. Our baboon friend Khufu sat atop a bookshelf reading the history of pharaohs, which would have been quite impressive, except he was holding the book upside down. Well, oh dear, Walt, why? Had opened the jewelry cabinet and was examining charm bracelets and necklaces as if they might be magical. Alyssa levitated clay pots with her earth elemental magic, juggling 20 or 30 at a time in a figure 8. Carl cleared his throat. Walt froze, his hands full of jewelry. Khufu scrambled down the shelf, knocking off most of the books. Alyssa spotted a crash to the floor. Felix tried to shoo his penguins beyond the tail. He does not have strong feelings about useful penguins. I'm afraid I can't explain. June Gresham drummed his fingers against the Lone Star belt buckle. This is your amazing too? Yes, I tried for one. Sorry about the mess. I pulled my wand from my belt and spoke a word of power. Heinum! I got better at such spells most of the time. I could not channel power from